We are live, and today we're going to talk about franchises. You saw the title, you see the thumbnails, and it's much easier to start a franchise business than you may think. All right, so we're going to talk about all that, and I have someone on the panel that I'm going to invite to talk to you about this. And there's a lot we can talk about, but coming up after the intro.
Hey, yeah, it's all about wealth engineering. Might be something that you're not used to. It's okay, cause I'm here to introduce you to concepts. Time to grow and make big moves. All about crypto, come see. Stocks in business, yes indeed. Got the info that you need. Hosted by my homie JC. Hey, yeah, wealth engineering. Stacking and stacking it up. It's time to generate wealth. Till you living like Scrooge McDuck. Hey, wealth engineering. It's time to show you the game. Till you living like Richie Rich. Till you ballin' like Bruce Wayne. Hey, you ain't gotta be an expert, no problem. It don't really matter where you at, just start it. It'll take time, hard work, and
What's up, guys? What's up? This is JC, and welcome to the Wealth Engineering Podcast. In today's video, we're going to talk about a lot of things, but it's a subject that I'm very interested in. So, I'm very excited to have this conversation with you guys. But first, if you're new here, my name is JC. I create content to motivate millennials. All right, motivate millennials in increasing your net worth, retire early, and build generational wealth. And sometimes, as a generational wealth, you got to consider a franchise business or just business in general. And why not consider a franchise business? So we're gonna talk about all that, guys. But first, I gotta give a shout out to a couple things we gotta talk about first. All right. So let me make sure I have all my notes ready because I'm very excited for this show as well. All right. So first, I want to talk about very quickly. Today is December 15th. All right. I have a deal. My this stream right now is being sponsored by Wealth Engineering, my company. So make sure you check out the Technical Investor course. All right, if you get the course, you get a lifetime deal to all the channel and my Discord channel. Starting in January, we'll be switching to a monthly subscription on Patreon. So make sure you get your lifetime deal. All right, and also make sure you check out my NFT. All right, there is surprise for my NFT holders. So if you buy the NFT, which is the song, the full song of the intro you heard, you get to unlock a couple features, hence discount on the course, and so and more and more. All right, I won't spoil it for you guys. So make sure you check the NFT, and also I want to give a shout out to my subscribers, the new subscribers, especially my OGs out here. Thank you for being early on the chat. Wally, how are you doing? How are you doing? Aaron, always here and supporting. All right, guys. Without further ado, we're gonna talk about the topic today. So, what's the topic about? Franchise business. All right. So, my guest today, we're really gonna talk about what is a franchise business and why you should consider it. Just to introduce the idea, what I would say about it is simply that. Um, as I mentioned that many times on the podcast, okay, I said that, hey, 9 out of 10 businesses fail. And it doesn't matter which business, all right? It could be your side hustle, it could be a startup company, right? Startup company, most of them fail, but the one that succeeds could actually one day be listed in a stock exchange, right? So it could be some huge success, but it's not common. 9 out of 10 business failed. So if you want to start a business, you might want to consider franchise. And the reason why I say that, because a franchise, by the time it gets to a franchise level, it is something that it has some level of proof, right? There is a system that has been working. So why not consider a franchise business? So from that perspective, from that system, I'm going to invite my guest today, Mr. Mikhail. How are you doing, sir?
Hi. I'm very good in yourself.
Very good, very good, very good.
All
All right,
right. Thank you for
Mikhail.
having me, JC.
Hey, no worries, no worries. So for those who may not know you, could you talk a little bit about yourself? What do you do, and then go from there?
Yes. So I'm a businessman. I'm a serial entrepreneur. That's what I go by. Really, that's what motivates me, is business. I've been in business for the last, I would say, at least 10 years.
Wow.
I started multiple different ventures. multiple different businesses. Not everything worked. Some did, some didn't. I'm
Mm,
originally from Haiti. I grew up,
really?
yes, my whole life in Haiti, even though I was born in Canada.
Wait, wait,
And
wait, wait,
then
wait, wait. I gotta talk a little bit about that.
go
Wait,
for
wait.
it, go
So,
for it,
so
go for
you
it.
you were born in Canada, but you grew up in Haiti.
In Haiti, exactly. So I had a Haitian dad, Canadian mom. They met here, and then at the age of 5, went back to my dad's home country in Haiti.
Oh, that's awesome,
Spent
man. That's
out.
awesome. That's the same as
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
That's I was born in here in
Really?
Montreal, but then at the age of 3, I was back to Haiti. I think my dad couldn't handle the cold anymore. So hey, man, we have a lot in common right here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know how long you spent, but I spent about 14 years in Haiti.
Yeah, me too, man.
Where
15 years.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So yeah, so basically high school to high school, more or less,
Exactly.
huh?
Exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
stayed up there
So
right after high school. I the same month I moved into Canada. I started college or CEGEP or how they call it here. But yeah, that's interesting. I don't think many people have seen an Asian guy who doesn't look like me.
that much, well, we don't have the same level of melanin. Exactly. New people may not be used to it, but you'd be surprised how many of us there are out there, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And you guys may not know it from the camera. The camera is not doing him justice. He's actually a good-looking guy, guys, and he has like green eyes. So yes, there you can see Asian people that are not doesn't look exactly like me, but it's interesting. But yeah, man,
Thank you,
thank you for
thank you.
sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. So yeah,
My
so you've been
pleasure.
in business for over 10 years. Wow.
Yes, yes.
Yes, we're gonna definitely get into that. Now, before we get deeper on the topic here, I wanted to ask you a couple things. Now, looking back in Haiti, looking back in the way you grew up, who were you in the high school? Like, what type of guy were you in high school? How would your friends describe you?
Oh, I was I was in, I would say I'm a joker, making jokes. I'll be the one in the back of the class.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Making jokes and stuff, making people laugh. That was me. I wouldn't say I was the more serious type at school. Hey, Xavier, I saw my friends there. Not the most serious guy at school, because I always felt like school was a box, if I can
Mm,
say it like that, and I never really fit in that box.
mm.
So yeah, I wasn't the straightest student, that's for sure.
That's definitely a trait a lot of serial entrepreneur has, man. There's so much in common. The same thing too. I was the class joker all the time. I think I think I beat a record for how many time I went to the principal school, right?
Oh man, don't get me started on that.
Oh
I
man,
want to show a business face here. Don't get me started on that.
no, but it's good to know your background a little bit, right? Okay, so now when you were in school, what were you thinking that you were going to do as a career? Like, did you think you would like get paid for your jokes, or do you think like were you already thinking
Uh,
business back then?
yes, 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 yes. Since I've been 14 years old, I always told my mom, I'm going to be a millionaire.
Really?
It's always been, always, yeah, since 13, I told mom, I'm my own business, big business all across the world. That's always been my goal. So that's why I was never too worried about school, to be
Okay.
honest, because the more research you do, school doesn't really teach you business. Business teaches you business.
Mm.
And there's no way around that.
That's so powerful right here, man. That's so powerful right here. Man,
Yeah.
I like that quote. I like that quote, man. Okay, so wow, you had it pretty clear right early on. That's where I guess we had a little differences. I didn't know I didn't even know I was an entrepreneur until I was 30, man. It's ridiculous. Uh,
Really?
um, yeah, but we'll get into that. So
Okay, okay.
were you did you had a clear business in mind back then, or you just knew that you were going to
Oh
do business?
wow.
And what was
No, to be
inspiring you?
honest,
What was inspiring you to even looking into business very early on in Haiti?
I never thought about doing business in Haiti, to be
Okay,
honest. I always thought about I'm doing business across the world. That's always been my objective because
okay,
yeah, like not I won't limit myself to one country.
of
That's
course,
I
of
never
course.
wanted
No,
to.
I meant more
Um,
like the
yeah,
inspiration. Like you probably got inspired
the
there too.
inspiration. Having control, being in control. I'm the type, I don't like being told what to do,
Mm,
having people control over my time, my energy. That's always been the case. I've been like the rebel without a cause type of guy,
Mm,
because that's one thing that's at the core of my belief, is that you have to be in control of every aspect of your life.
absolutely, man. We can relate on that
And
part.
only business only allows you to do that, more or less, right? So, well,
All
for
right, all
me,
right. So let's fast forward to right now. What are you currently doing right now to engineer your wealth?
so right now I own a franchise business.
All right.
It's been 2 years. Yeah, it's a
Hmm.
language school franchise. And the good thing is really where it's located. It's located in a city, where you have to be bilingual. So another
Hmm.
part of business is picking an industry, that makes sense, right, for your location. So that's a big part. You're not going to start a McDonald's franchise in a healthy type city. Like, that's not going to work out. So especially language school, for my point of view, made sense. And I was working for a franchise language school, actually, before that, so I knew the industry as well. I was familiar with the industry. I was familiar how things work, with the potential of everything. And then when the opportunity came across, to acquire my own franchise, I really jumped on it. But I
Hmm.
jumped on that. Maybe I should backtrack and say, before having a franchise, I used to have a call center. So a call center business, where we used to like, you outsource. People used to outsource customer service contract, that type of stuff first. And unfortunately, after about 2 years, it went bankrupt. And that kind of ties in to where, your 9 business out of 10 fail. That's where, I'm a living proof of that. I know it doesn't know. You can have great years, and then at some point, one thing, if you like the experience, you like the knowledge, and I was very young. That's something I can vouch for. 9 out of 10 business do fail.
Wow.
But if you compare franchise business, 2 franchise out of 10 fail. That means
Really?
80% of franchises. Yeah, that's the stats. 80% of franchises succeed.
80% of
So
franchises succeed. That's thank you
80%,
for
yeah,
sharing that. I actually I did not know that. So thank you for
yeah.
sharing that. That's a great point right here. Can you come a little bit closer to the yeah, no worries, no worries. All right. So okay, all right. I get a sense of what you're doing now. You have your own building franchise. Now, let me ask you this before we move to the heavy question here. Um, Looking back from the days you're in high school, you were that joker in high school, you were thinking
Hmm.
about being a millionaire versus now what you're doing right now with your franchise and all your experience along the way. What would you say is your biggest lesson and what you have learned when it comes to building wealth?
My biggest lesson, I would say, it's not always about the money. It's really about having options. Because to me, wealth equals options.
Mhm.
Um, Being able to do what you prefer at any point in time. That's what true wealth,
Freedom.
I think, is freedom. Exactly. So that's the biggest lesson I learned. Regardless of the success that you may have or the failures that you may have, don't get too attached. First of all, like, you are not your failures, but you're not your successes as well. You just have to maintain that emotional, cold-blooded, or cold, if I can put it that way. And that ties in as well to the fact that having the options, to endure that type of stuff and put yourself in situations where, it's risky, where
Mhm.
success is not always guaranteed, but it's a more fulfilling than, I would say, um, working for the man, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And us as Asians, man, we love freedom. Cash flow hunter,
Yes,
shout
we
out
do.
to your freedom, Moshe.
We invented freedom in 1804.
Yeah, yo, man. Yeah,
Literally,
man. Facts,
literally
facts,
invented freedom.
facts, man. Yo, that's a good one, man. I've never heard that one before, but man, it's so true. It's so true. We did invented
Yeah.
it. Shout out to you, Aaron B, man. Yes, emotional stability too. All
Yep.
right, man. So far, I like the way it's going. I like your questions. Now, let me ask you. Let's get into the business. So, for those who may not know, and you already share some great stats, to 80% of a franchise business succeed, as opposed to the regular business, the regular 9 out of 10 fails, right? So that really
Yep.
increase your odds of success
Mhm.
with the franchise business. But for those who may not know, how would you define a franchise business?
It's acquiring the rights to represent, operate a brand within a territory, basically.
Mm,
So you're buying a business model, you're buying a formula that comes with support, it comes with tools, it comes with resources to operate, and that comes with a price. And the price is the initial fee that you buy, that you give, and the ongoing royalty fees that you give as well for the support and the branding and the marketing that comes from the franchisor as well. So basically, that's what a franchise is.
a great definition right here.
Yeah.
So you're acquiring the right to operate and control. I know you like control, right? To control, to control a proven system, basically, and a certain location. And I guess that's
Exactly.
an interesting question. From you limited with that with that location. So how would you say talk about scaling a franchise business really very quickly? Like if you are
Um,
limited in a section, what do you do
you're
about
not always
scaling?
limited. Like for my specific franchise, I am limited. But let's say if you buy a McDonald's franchise, you're not limited, right? Because anyone can come to your store,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
So it really it's depends on the industry. Some
Mm,
industries do come with limitations. You can see a McDonald's 5 blocks from one another, right? Because people they wouldn't, or any other franchise. But for our franchise, personally, you buy a specific territory,
mhm,
um, but you can still scale it. The best way to scale it is to maximize your specific territory. And before entering to the franchise business, the industry, you need to do some research. You need to see what your ceiling is as well
mm,
within that specific territory. So if you did your homework and you know that there's a huge market to go get, well, that specific territory shouldn't be an issue. What should be an issue is how to get your competition's revenue, basically. That's what business is here in a specific territory and in general as well.
it's kind of like a virtual boxing match, you know? How do you punch your competitor and kick them out of the ring? Hey man, no worries, no worries. All right, so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. So you said that you started many businesses, some not all of them succeed. Now, why
No.
did you choose franchise business? How did you came across with the idea? Like, and why did you choose it? And was that your first business that you started, or was it along the way? Like, what do you have to say about that?
I chose it when after my first big business went bankrupt. Unfortunately, I had to come back here in Canada and start from scratch, start working
Mm,
again. And I got lucky to work for a franchise owner. So he had a franchise, but that his franchise was for a whole country. So he had a very big operation. Because you can buy a franchise for a whole country as well, depending on the industry. And I was
wow.
managing a part of the country for him. And along the way, I gain experience. I reached the maximum position I could in within the company as well.
Mm,
So it was like a glass ceiling, and I saw a lot of things I could improve within the business. And one day I just decided to I need to go back to entrepreneurship. I was after 2 years going back on the for a job, and I did some research, and then the research, one thing led to another. I found a franchise. I literally went on the internet and looked franchise Montreal, just those two words, and there's a whole list that came out. And then I saw one that was within the same industry I'm in right now, and I actually knew the person selling the franchise because we were in the same industry. So that allowed me really to explore it as much as possible because I knew the industry, I knew the person selling the franchise. We came to an agreement within a month, and the rest is really history. So
mm.
I would say it is maybe the fifth business out of that I started. The first one was the call center. You had three failures in between that we don't really need to talk about, and then we had the franchise. So yeah,
Hey man, those failures are only way to grow. I mean, I'm just to give you an idea for
yeah.
myself. I when I wanted, I did 13 businesses. All right, all of them failed.
Okay.
And for me,
Number
it's because
14.
yeah, that's it. Don't wealth engineering is my 14th business,
There you
and
go.
but for me, so here's a very quick story for me. I When I was 16, I asked my mom, "Hey, which job should I do if I want to get money?" If she wanted me to go to university, I'm like, "Okay, so what do I study if I want to get money?" I'm like, "I want money. I want to be able to buy this Mercedes car." Right, my last name is Mercy. That so it has to match with the Mercedes.
Makes sense.
I'm like, and then my special Mercedes was the what we call in Haiti the Baton Moise, the staff of Moses, the G class Mercedes, right? So that's
Yeah.
to me that was success, right? If you don't have a G class, you're not successful. But then I end up where I'm going as an engineer. It was very hard for me, to be honest. I didn't realize I was bipolar. I had a learning disability, but hey, when you don't know, right? You just keep going at it, and
Yeah.
I pushed through it, and I still graduated as an engineer. But I reached a ceiling as well where I was just an average engineer. I couldn't be the top, and I'm all I care about is that income, right? So I'm like, how do I make more income? And then I can't learn more skills. I can't be better at being an engineer. And on top of that, my industry was shifting. A lot of these jobs were moving to China as opposed to staying in Canada. And I was being laid off. Within 5 years, I was laid off 3 times. And at the same time, so I'm like, okay, what do I do? In the meantime, I did everything. I did MLM. I did online businesses. I was always doing a side hustle, trying to increase my income. But it's really at the age of 30, after my second laid off, that I look back in everything I know, and I found my life purpose, and that had to do very much with business. And since then, I went on Google. How do you start a business? Started registering a corporation. My first business was as an engineer. I had this idea of taking a breaker,
Hmm.
converting it, and instead of having one electricity input, you can have two, and put a computer on that, and that gives you the ability to select when to use solar panel, for example, as a energy source, or when to use hydro quebec, for example. So you
Oh,
can you can
nice.
you can direct the energy source for each room. Apparently, to me, that was a simple idea. I thought it would exist already. Turns out no one did it, and so I was able to apply for a patent on that. And then that was the only good thing I did for my business, is actually having this idea and apply for the patent, because that idea got me into getting free education. Turns out, guys, they would ask you to pay 100,000 if you're looking to be an employee, but if you are looking to be an entrepreneur, they'll give you an MBA for free. And that's what they did for me. And for basically
Oh,
an
wow.
accelerator, they got me into an accelerator for 2 years, and I was working on that idea. Then I worked on another startup, but after I had to drop it. But within those 2 years, what I've learned along the way, how to build a company, a startup company from start to production, and with the engineering side, that gave me so much skill that I could go back to the job market and definitely secure a job, because I have a lot of skills to apply. But you still have that heart of entrepreneurship, that you still
Oh,
want to do something
yeah.
on the sides, and that's where I'm at right now. So right now I'm doing great at the AI company, mixing both business and engineering. And then
Very
also
nice.
I'm working on the sides, helping people in finance, educating them. So me too, I guess I'm in the education
No,
as well.
that's a
But
very smart idea, like the solar power you just mentioned.
yeah, yeah,
Impressive idea,
I was
yeah.
surprised, to be honest. And I understood from an engineer perspective how to create it from design, from an idea all the way to production. But from the business side, I knew nothing about that. And I was trying to understand why was I getting laid off. But as I started running my company, I'm like, okay, if I were them, I would have made the same choices as well. And it really makes you consider the world once you are in other people's shoes. But employees always say, hey, you got to be nice to your employees and all that. But anyway, but yeah, just to give you an idea as well, for me, this is where I was. So wealth engineering is basically my my only, it, to me it's successful because it's the only business I've
Mhm.
made where I made more than $2,000.
Well, that's more than a lot of people. Like you said, nine businesses fail out of 10 anyway. So
Exactly, and also I've made this year I've made my 5 figures as well on my business in sales, which is to me
Very nice.
unheard of because I never made any of that. Never once in my life my business was able to buy me more than a coffee or anything like that. So to me
That's
that's
a great
been
feeling. Congrats on that. That's a great feeling, huh?
yeah. Thank you very much. All right, man. All right, I like what I hear. Now let me ask you this because you did touch on that you need to do your research as you're starting
Definitely.
doing your basically and someone did ask a question. I wanted to address it very quick before we move on. Shout out to you, cash flow hunter. Do you have a better tax deduction in franchise compared to small businesses? Now a franchise could be a small business, or it could be a big business, but what are your thoughts on tax deduction? This guy always wants to know about tax.
Tax, well, basically you pay tax on profit. So you control your profit as well as a business. Revenue, well, revenue is a direct effort of your marketing effort. Is a result of your marketing efforts, and then that revenue, you have costs attached to it, and difference profit, and that profit, that's where you're taxed. So, if you're talking about advantages in tax, really, you're the one that's going to be controlling those expenses. You're the As a business, a lot of the personal expenses can go on a business expense. And if you're
Mm,
savvy and then you have a good accountant, I would say you would only need money for groceries basically, and or rent, and everything else can go through a business. Again, I know you need to talk to an accountant, but there are a lot of ways as a business owner to avoid paying too much taxes, because that's the thing the rich don't do. The rich and the millionaires and the billionaires, they don't want to give the government any money,
yeah, yeah.
because so that's just the way it goes. As a business owner, you have to be surrounded by a great financial team, whether it's a one accountant or it's a bookkeeper and an accountant, a CPA, that are experienced, and take a referral, ideally, of someone that has a good experience with them, and you're going to save a lot of taxes. I don't want to, mention. I don't know the reality of everyone's business
Hmm.
that's listening to us. But you know your car, etc. If you're going to be avoiding taxes on pay on your revenue, it depends as well. Do you charge taxes as a business owner? Because we're lucky enough as an education company to be exonerated from tax. We
Oof.
do not charge taxes. Yeah, so
Oh,
so that means we do
oh,
not
you
give
so you
taxes
don't
to the
charge
government.
taxes, therefore you don't have to pay taxes on
Pay
that.
taxes. No, I
Oh,
only pay taxes on
interesting.
profit. So that's a particular to Quebec, though. That doesn't
Mm,
not apply to an international business. So that's why you need a good accountant. Us as
mm,
as an education purposes, we train literally people so that they can have oral skills, which is one of the most basic skills you need to operate in anything you're gonna do. So we
mm.
are exonerated from taxes. So then
That's good to
that's
know.
another research you can do before going into business. You research your industry and taxes. What are the
Mm.
laws based on your industry? You pay consultations to CPAs so they can guide you and educate you on those things as well. Because even if you have to pay someone a couple $100 or a couple $1,000, you're gonna get that money back in the long run, definitely.
Yeah, I wanted to ask this. I have this thing I do with my audience sometimes. Guys,
Tell me.
look at me in the eyes as I say this. What if you could actually get your groceries tax deductible? Have you ever heard that one? Get your groceries tax deductible.
Technically, listen, you could like I had a Christmas party, right, 2 days ago. I had to go buy some stuff at the groceries. That's a
Oh yeah.
business expense. It
Hey,
really depends. You're not gonna do it every weekend,
of
but
course, of
there are
course.
ways to do that. Definitely.
Hey, look. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial
No,
advice.
neither am I. Neither
This,
am I.
this is for entertainment and educational purpose only. But for your information, guys, I know someone who what he did was part of his marketing was buying grocery cards to to his customers, and so basically that went as an expense. And then yeah,
Ah,
some of these grocery cards, accidentally
one for the
fall.
customers.
So
Oh my God.
there you go for your cash flow. I know this guy's always looking for hacks. So hey, but again, this
There's
is
a, the- oh,
for information
and it
only.
depends on the volume as well. It depends on the your yearly sales that you're going to be declaring to Revenue Canada or the in the States. If you're going to declare the bigger business you are and the more money you declare, revenue you declare, at some point, if you're not declaring that much profit, you will be
Yeah.
investigated.
How
Definitely,
they?
they will
Yeah.
come. Someone will come on the spot, go through your books, so they fine comb for weeks and days. And
Absolutely.
at some point, I've known people who have gone in trouble. Like they didn't think that that car was an issue, put a car
Ooh,
in the business. So they would find those gas expense after, even if it takes them 2 months. So that's where I would take everything we're saying right now. We're not advisors, so be careful. Talk to a good accountant, and they can definitely guide you. That's why they're there for.
of course, of course. And very quickly, and this guy, man, does this also applies to online
Yes.
businesses? I think he's asking for the tax in Quebec. That in
If
education,
you're
you mentioned
registered,
education in Quebec.
listen, if you're registered and you have a corporation in Quebec here, and then you have an accountant, you ask your accountant, I'm in the industry, I'm in the education industry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, am I exonerated? Yes or no? And then that's the best person placed to answer that question, honestly.
There you go, cash flow hunter. And yeah, that's a great way to answer it. I guess I am
Mm.
online business. I could ask my, but I'm not corporated yet.
Okay,
I
okay.
don't have the income yet to justify a corporation. But hey, maybe one day I'll go that way. All right. So one thing I wanted to ask you is, yes, you were talking about researchers, and like you mentioned, one of the things you might want to research is not just the ceiling for your business, but also your taxes and basically how your expenses and all that, how to grow. But how do you get started with your first franchise? So other than research, how do you get started? Like when you wanted to start, is it just a Google search? Like is it at least other things we should look into? What would you say about that?
Uh, just to understand better the question, you start. What's the process to get your first sale? You mean how do you get, or how do you
Just your
create your own
how do you
franchise
well
network?
if you're selling in your franchise, you already started. So just before you
Yeah.
even get there, like from the idea of or the decision of okay, I want to get a franchise to actually making your first sale. Like how do you what's the process to all that?
First of all, it's curiosity. You have to want it. It all depends how bad you want it. If you're only gonna you have to be dedicated to it, right? You have to dedicate time, energy, and effort to it. Put the research, do your homework. You have to pick a niche that you enjoy, because it is gonna
Mm,
become at some point something you do every day, right? Um, Again, know your market, know your customers, know where to position your I was gonna say school, but your business, where your customers are gonna find you the easiest, and once they find you, make sure you provide top notch service, not only before sales, but what's most important is after sales service. The best after sales service you provide, the faster you're going to grow. It's not before sales service. A lot of people focus too much on before sales, but we need to keep them in the loop. You need to keep nurturing those customers that have already bought from you, because it's easier to get a repeat customer than to acquire a new customer. So
mm,
once you've figured out all those different processes for yourself, you have to make sure you know that like the back of your hand, all your market, your customer profile. Where are you going to advertise your business? How are you going to get that first sale? How are you going to get that second sale? Where do you see yourself 1 year down the line? Do you have a monthly projection of revenue? um, and if you do, what initiative are you going to take to hit those numbers? So it does come with a certain amount of preparation that is required, but once you've done that preparation, that's when you can actually start um, incorporating your business. Once
mm.
you incorporate your business,
No, okay, keep going.
yeah, once you incorporate your business, you start marketing. Marketing is always the most important thing. You start to get the word out there. You start to brand your company. If you have your budget for it, you go big budget. Depending on your industry, you can go online on the newspapers. You can go on the metro station, on buses. You can hire influencers to represent you, like a spokesperson. So you can go guerrilla marketing, where you do a blast on an email blast. So there's so many things you can do to get your brand out there. You just
Mm,
have to figure out what works for you and try. Never stop trying. And
mm-hmm.
once you figure out what works, you start hitting harder. on that point. But you have to try. That's the six. There's no trick to business. It's always try, try, try. You succeed. Try, try, try. Fail, fail, fail. You succeed. So as long as you keep on trying, you're gonna know what works. And knowing what doesn't work is more important than knowing what actually does work. Because if you keep on doing an action that doesn't work, that's money down the drain. Because anytime you lose, any failure in business means a big loss of money.
Hmm.
So you really have to be willing to try stuff. Never be scared and never stop trying different ways to put your brand out there.
No
I
worries.
think that's the best thing. That's the best second step you can take after incorporating yourself. Figure out how you're gonna reach as much people as possible. And once you reach those people, well, you will need to have the infrastructure, the structure to deliver your product or your service, or what it is you're gonna be selling, right?
Man,
Um,
you were cooking, man. You were cooking, dropping knowledge out there, man. Sounds like a wise guys already. But hey, let, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this because as part of your research, all right, does
mhm.
can the franchise structure help you out with those research because they're probably seeing different people trying it out in different location. Is there like resources can you tap on as you're doing a franchise business as opposed to like starting an entire business from you and not knowing exactly what to do, where to go, and get those information? Like, what would you say about that?
If you are, let's say you are at the step where you've acquired the franchise, so you're already the franchise owner, you've
Mm-hmm.
already incorporated everything, then yes, definitely. That means you are entitled to a certain support, certain amount of documents, access to other franchisees. And other franchisees are your best source of information because they are in a similar position as you are. They pay royalties just like you do, and they had to develop their brand just like you're about to do yours.
Mm.
So that's the best thing you can do is start speaking with other franchisees of the same brand you want to acquire. I don't think there's anything or any resource that would be more better place to give you information.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking
Right?
about it too, as you're mentioning. Shout out to you, Peter Investor M, saying that I'm just dropping in to support. I'm at work now. Yes, usually I make this podcast a bit later when everyone's home, but today I had to do it early because to respect Mikhail's time. But I mean, he's dropping knowledge so
Appreciate
far.
that.
We're getting a lot of value from him, and thank you for sharing all that. Yeah, Peter Investor Ham
My
had a
pleasure.
question. Hopefully, you can tune in later to check it out. So, question. Did talk with it? What is the business structure ideal for franchise that operate independently from parent company? What cash flowing system you use? I'm not quite fully understanding that question,
Well,
but let's focus on the cash flowing
no, no, I
system.
understand it.
Okay.
I understand the first part. So you cannot operate independently because you have what you call a operational manual. You paid for a system, you paid for a structure, you paid for a know-how.
Hmm.
So you don't want to deviate too much from that formula, from that famous recipe that you're paying for, right?
Here's a quick
Right.
question: can you deviate from that recipe?
You could if you have a good relationship with the franchisor, and then you approach them. Listen, I think we can improve upon this. If we tweak this here, then it becomes a negotiation. It becomes
Mhm.
anything in business is negotiable.
Oh,
So
but
as
you
long
have
as
to
you
get their
present it,
approval.
yeah, because it's their brand. It's not
Yeah,
your
yeah,
brand,
yeah.
right?
But hey,
You're paying to
I
use their
found that
brand.
interesting. I thought you guys you're the type of guy who like freedom and be
The thing is
control.
that I don't want to deviate from a formula that's making money,
Yeah,
right? So that's at the same time I buy the franchise because it works, right? Because what you have control upon though is your price and your
yeah.
cost. So
And
you
well,
can reduce your cost and you can increase your revenue.
I guess that's a nice answer to this comment right here. Nicolas Xavier Gabriel. Man, that has to be a nation. So someone nation for sure.
That's my
Mikhail
brother.
was
No,
always a
that's
genius that was a rebel to the traditional method. So shout out to you for that comment. And then yes,
my
so I
man.
guess you didn't you can still follow some level of structure, especially if it's gonna make you some money. All right.
Exactly.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Awesome. Market research R&B. Thank you for your comment.
Definitely.
And let me see. Sophia Sharif with me. I was going to move north in the US and obtain a foreclosed farmland. I plan to purchase and vandalize building from what? My Veggie Mart is food dessert will pay for itself. Okay, I guess Veggie Mart would be the franchise. Cool. No worries. Thank you for your comment. J Bones, thank you for your support here. Shout out to you and thank you for keeping them honest here. Hit the like button, guys, as you come in. It really helps the channel. Uh, no worries. Thank you very much. And let's go to the next question. But hey, man, we're learning games. We're learning games. Okay, so you have to get permission if you want to do something. But however, especially in the business, there's many people who can come up with innovative ways. And I guess that's another way that it built that system for everyone. Let's say you were having an innovation and you got the permission to try it out and it worked. I'm sure they would probably pass it along and probably make it a standard to the company if it can make them more
Yeah,
money, right? Because the more money everyone makes, the more they get consistent those royalty comes in,
exactly.
and talk. Can you talk briefly about that royalty system? So, is it something you pay a yearly per month? How much of that from your is it if you get profit, is it that's the only time you pay royalties, or do you have to pay royalties regardless of what happened in your business?
So the way it works, the royalty fees usually it's by industry. So like the food industry may have lower royalties because the margin are slimmer. You can
Mm.
have some royalty fees that go all the way up to 25%, especially if you have huge profit margins. In my case, we're below 10%.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but below, yeah, we're below
Per
10%.
year, right?
Yeah, you pay on you pay it. It doesn't depend if you pay monthly, quarterly, or yearly, right? It's just a flat rate that you pay upon your revenue. So
Mhm.
some people are gonna some industries are gonna ask it for it monthly. In our case, we pay it quarterly. So that's it. You look at your revenue for that quarter, you take off the percentage, and then you cut them a check. Basically, that's just the way the franchise goes.
Mm.
It's
Okay, okay. So,
negotiated upon the signature of the contract. So that's where you have to make sure that your profit margin and the royalty fees are factored into your price, right?
mm,
Because if not, that's where you may get frustrated as a franchisee that you're paying for something and you're not getting anything in return. So
exactly.
make sure that your numbers are good. Because if your
Mm.
numbers don't add up and then you don't have, he's making more money than you are, the system is broken.
Absolutely. And let me ask you
He
this.
should be making a fraction.
Yeah, if that's a great quote right there. If the fees are, if they're making more monies in fees than you are making in revenue, that's the system is broken, and you don't want to have
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
broken for you because it's
No,
a regularly proven system, right? Now, let me ask you this: when you're
exactly.
negotiating your franchise, can you use some arguments about your location? And to validate that, hey, it might be harder for you to get a certain level of numbers, so reduce those fees in your favor. Like, could you use that as an argument to get some lower fees?
Definitely, I would strongly suggest you hire a lawyer when you're negotiating your contract. That's what I did. Lawyers, you hire lawyers that are very familiar with franchise contracts. Those are very thick documents, usually very easy for a franchisor to hide hidden fees in there if you're not
Mm,
familiar with them. So always have a lawyer look at those contracts, and then the lawyer is going to tell you, right, this makes sense or this doesn't. And then upon those notes from your lawyer, you can add some too, because it's your business at the end of the day. And then you go and you go negotiate. Um, so yeah, everything is negotiable.
cool, cool, man. That's good to know.
Mhm.
Things you don't think about, but it makes so much sense once you say it. But yeah, I hire a lawyer.
Yeah, and make sure because that contract it becomes really the Bible, the core of the relationship afterwards. So you have to make sure that once you start that negotiation of the contract, be happy with the end product because you're gonna have to live with it indefinitely.
All right, all right, all right. Okay,
Yeah.
well, thank you for that comment right now. So I did. Now let me ask you this: how do you maintain once you get started? You get your sales. How do you like? Can you talk a little bit about maintaining your franchise, maintaining it, and scaling it in a little bit? Like, what would be your process
Uh,
from your first sale to scaling it and maintaining it?
I will be honest, I've never been about maintaining. I'm willing to risk everything at any point in time. That's just my motto. I'm willing to risk everything I have now if I have another opportunity. So I'm not
Sheesh.
about maintaining. No, I'm not really. So I'm willing because if you play scared, then you get scared money, you get small money. So you
Mm,
have to be willing to risk. That's I'm a strong believer that your risk tolerance is a direct level as your income. So I'm a very strong believer in that. So the more risk averse you are, the more money you're gonna make. You're gonna lose a lot of money too in the process, but that's the sacrifice. That's the price you pay for greatness. And then you have to put in your mind that you're not attached to those failures, right? It happens. It happens once. You just brush it off. You keep on
Yeah,
going, but it takes time to develop that kind of mentality.
yeah, that muscle. Yeah,
um yeah. So when you have that mentality, all you think about is the second word you said, scaling, not maintaining. So all I focus on is scaling. And then the best way to scale is having a plan. You always need a plan. When you have a plan, you have a plan on paper. You have a plan for next month, you have a plan for next quarter, you have a plan for next year and the next 5 years. It may change, it should change actually, but have a plan. That's the best way to scale.
what do you do when we get just like shout out to Mike Tyson said, "Hey, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face." So, what do you do if you get punched in the face, and how do you adapt to make a new plan, and how fast do you
All
do
right,
it?
right. The first time you get punched in the face, yeah, you may fall, but the second time you won't, right? So it's totally normal to bleed, to fall, even to cry and anything, because you get so attached to your business that your mood is directly connected to the success of your business.
Mm,
Literally, they're like scared money makes no money. That's exactly it, right? Yeah, so
okay,
that's how
okay,
I
okay.
would put it.
Nah, man, I like what you're saying, man. I like what you're saying. Now let me ask you this. I agree with you. Scared money don't make money. I think was it shout
No,
out to you, Nicole Xavier Gabriel, for this comment. That's a great quote right here. And yes, you think about scaling, and because of
scaling.
that, you don't think about maintaining. So your level of
No.
risk is fairly, especially if you're playing in the franchise level. Your level of risk, you have a very comfortable level of risk. I Me too, me too. Certain type of investment I make, especially in crypto right now. Oh, I go all in, man. I go all in, and
I bet you
sometimes
do.
sometimes in the most riskiest assets, it makes people shake all the time. Whereas me, I would be comfortable putting $1 million in things like this, and even if it drops 40%, I can still sleep at night. But it's funny because I'm not like that for every type of business, man. For a franchise. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet, but to be honest, I feel like I wouldn't be as aggressive in a franchise as opposed to as I'm comfortable in a investing world. Now let me ask you this: how do you set up your life so that you can handle those risks, especially if you get punched in the face? Because it's easy to say, yeah, you brush it off, but if it starts affecting your income, the lifestyle of your family, and all that, then it can definitely make you start thinking twice about risking. So how do you set up your structure to be able to handle those aggressive style that you have?
So you need a cushion, that's for sure. Like especially as a business owner, your business should be able to survive for a certain amount of months without revenue. So I would say that's always the first thing you should have as a business owner to properly operate anyway. Because if your focus is on making next payroll, you will never be able to focus on scaling your business. So that's why you should always have minimum 6 months, minimum. That way you can focus your attention and energy on scaling. So that's
Mm,
that's one of the biggest tricks I use personally. That allows me to be able to take risk because even if I lose this, I can still live, right?
mm,
Um, and the risk has to be proportionate to your income as well, right? You don't take stupid risk. You take educated risk, and that's the best way to actually take risk is by doing homework, by doing research, and by trying. And then you try small. When you try something, you got to try very, very small, but you have to make sure that the structure can be scalable very quickly.
I
So that's the
see.
best way to take a risk. You start very small and then you scale very fast as soon as you see one glimpse of success.
Mm. And now let me ask you this. Can you talk a little bit more? Because that's a great way. And it's funny because even in engineering, that's exactly what we do. We have we start small and maybe on alpha projects, then we put it to the market and we see how it responds. We go back and fix it and scale it. Every time we put it back, it's back bigger, but after we fix
Exactly.
the first error. So I like that approach. And that's why I feel like Engineering, studying engineering principles, they will mix very well with business and investing. They mix so well. It's kind of like a match made in heaven, because it's different markets, different on the surface, but when you bring it down to it, the fundamentals, it's the same. So shout out to you for that. Now let me ask you this, all right? So how does that look like when you walk us through basically an idea you had, you actually tested it, all right, and then and what was the scale of the test, what was the risk exposure? You don't have to give us this like some things that you don't want to share, but just give us a
Mhm.
picture of what that looks like in a physical world, and go from there.
Um, I would say that I'll take my most recent one. To be honest, I think that's the one I'm most familiar with right now. Is the business I just started with a partner of mine, which is my sister. We just started
Shout
a
out to your
business.
sister.
We took thank you, Fabiola. But shout out to Fabiola. So we started a business. We took a risk.
Can you
And the way
can
we're
you get a bit closer,
yeah,
if
yeah.
I
So the way we're managing that risk right now is we started very small. But I mean small. We started with it's a photography studio. So the photography studio is a new concept where there's no photographer involved. You are the photographer and you are the model. So when you're in the room, you're surrounded by professional equipment, and those professional equipment allow you to take professional pictures without the need of a photographer. So you have screens on the wall. So this is a concept that we put together literally 2 months ago, and it hit the ground running. People went crazy for it. So right now, what we're doing, we want to hit the iron while it's hot. So we started very small, but to grow fast, you don't want to grow alone. You want to go, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you're going to go far, you go together. So we actually one are putting together a franchise structure for that business as well. So I am going from franchisee to franchisor. And that risk that we're taking, it was calculated because we're comfortable with the concept, because my sister is a photographer, so she has that technical knowledge. As a business owner myself, I have the business knowledge. So when we both of us we combine our respective skills together, we didn't feel like the risk level was too much for us to handle.
Hmm. Okay, okay, okay.
So
So
it's
so
about knowing the skill set,
I,
basically.
I want to break it down a little bit, because I guess that's a perfect
Mhm.
segue to some other question we were going to talk about. And I think yeah, you did mention you have your franchise as well. So I want
Mhm.
there's a lot you mentioned here that I want to break down. All right. So
Go
first,
for
you
it.
had the idea of, was it already a proven system of a franchise that you assigned to? Like how did that work? Like was it that idea of no
The
photographer
studio.
studio, basically? Yeah.
So we came across it on social media, and we realized that North America only had one of them. Only one studio like that in North America, but hundreds of them in Asia. So if it's popular in Asia, it's just a matter of time before it crosses over that ocean to North America, South America, and Europe.
Mm,
Um, and the numbers don't lie. The success that we have doesn't lie.
mm.
So that's what for us gave us the peace of mind that is gonna work.
All right, all right. So that's what I'm asking. Did you actually
Mhm.
pay for that franchise that was in the states, or?
There's no, we invented the system. We improved upon it. So we went and visited the actual studio that is in Ontario. The other one. So we went, we visited it, right? So and then we invented a name, Solography. We really came up with that name. The name does not exist. The concept itself, we improved upon it, and it is what it is today. So we
So
didn't have to
basically,
pay for it. What we're doing, we're actually recruiting franchisees who to acquire the system actually. So we want to sell it.
you just went straight to become your own franchise and then start selling it through the franchise model.
Exactly. Because
Okay, so
I've
and
been
when you were saying
doing.
that you tested it, so you tested it. That's what I wanted to ask.
Mhm.
What was the scale of budget you had? Like, which location, or like how did you come up with the location? And then what was your
Oh,
target to understand if it was a success or a
that's
failure?
okay. I see. I understand what you mean. So that there, it's really about rolling up the sleeves and getting the work done. You have to walk the street to find a location. That there's nowhere around it. You have to know your city first of all. Know what neighborhood would receive something that's a bit more artistic. You go in that city, you walk around, you look at empty space, you call. Literally, I went around and I called at least 50 to 70 different locations, spots I saw what were empty for rent, until I found one that was a nice street, very busy street. The price was within our budget, so we jumped on that, and then we signed a 1 year lease. We signed only a
1 year.
1 year
All right. That's
lease.
what I was going to ask you
Yeah,
next.
yeah, just to give yourself that room if it doesn't work out, right? You don't want to be stuck with a location and paying rent if it doesn't work out. So you sign 1 year, and then you line up a contractor, right? So a contractor comes in, builds your studio, you buy the equipment, install the equipment, and then you do marketing. Marketing, very very strong on social media marketing.
Hmm. Yeah, something like this would go very well on Instagram, actually. Is that the website? I saw solography here. Oh, I think I lost you for a bit. Wait. Um, give me a second. Wait, let's give me a second, guys. The mic isn't. I think it says the mic is not connected.
No,
Uh,
I'm good. Hear me now?
oh, good, good. We're good now. We're good now. Hey, struggle streaming already. Shout out to my mentor on YouTube. But we're good. We're good. We're good. That's what happens when you're live. But yeah, is that it? Is that it? Solography.
Yes, correct. So that is our website.
All right.
That is what it looks like. So you can go right on there and then book a session for the Montreal location.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can decide to book for 1%, 2%, three or four for a 25-minute session or a 55-minute session, and you get your pictures printed at the end, and then all the rest of the files are sent to you by email. So some people come to shoot themselves, as you can see. Some people come to do product shoot. So we have multiple different purposes, different clientele.
Wow. And so
Yeah.
yeah, this is the type of quality you can get from the studio.
Yep. Yeah. It's
Wow.
professional equipment. It's
Wow.
100% professional equipment.
Okay, okay. So no, you don't need to know anything about editing. You just
No,
walk
no,
in,
no,
you
no,
press the
no.
button, and then you walk out, and then you get your pictures.
Exactly.
Okay, okay. That's a simple concept, simple but powerful,
Very.
man. This is the type of business I like to hear. Man, you could probably pitch that on a Shark Tank or something, and then see where
I
and
could
help you scale that,
see
or
where it takes us.
Dragon's Den or something.
Yeah.
Man, shout out to you. Shout out to you for trying that. So, okay, so
Thank
you
you.
seen the concept in Asia is popular. You create your own franchise. So now you're at so that's the risk you've taken. You basically put your own money in to start it, to rent the location, do the marketing, giving yourself a year to start it, and then now you're at the point where do you see a glimpse of success?
Well, from the first month, we were making a profit since the first month. To be honest, it was profitable from the first month. We haven't been losing money yet. Of course, you have to invest to make it better, but
Mm-hmm.
all the investment income is coming directly from the revenue generated to improve upon the business. So
Mm.
that's why we decided to go to franchises so quickly, because for us it literally changed my sister's life, where now instead of taking contracts upon contracts, she works there full time, and then she has access to the studio for her own clients. So
Oh.
that's it becomes a key and hand system for everyone that wants to leave a 9 to 5. You can go, you open a studio, and then that's literally going to generate income for you, because it's about a certain amount of booking per week. If you can generate 30 bookings a week at an average price of $100 a booking, I guarantee you're going to be able to quit your job and focus on that and scale it.
Hey yo, I see the address. I'll go check it out, man, to do my research.
Anytime, anytime.
But I'm joking.
We're
I'm
waiting for you.
joking. Gonna shoot me. Hey, you gonna try to steal our idea? Nah, man. For something like that, I would probably. Hey, man, I like that you're already doing so the franchisee model. I guess that's also going to be a test as well. You're going to probably test
Oh
the
yeah.
fee structure, seeing what makes more sense from your revenue perspective, as opposed to also the person who are interested in starting it in different locations. So yes. So does that mean that you control the Montreal area, or is it only like a portion of Montreal? Like, how do you decide that?
Well, for now, we have one location in Montreal, so technically we have not started really selling franchises within Montreal. We're really working on building the structure of
The
everything
brand.
to go to market in first quarter of January 2022. Really start advertising to have franchises all over North America. So it's way more than Montreal. We want to go to every city, for whether it's New York, Los Angeles, Miami, Atlanta. We really see this being able to be in every major city in North America in the next 3 to 5 years, because the cost of entry is not expensive. It's not like
Mm,
you're going to spend $1 million to acquire the name for Burger King or Subway, right? This is very reasonable. Any person with some saving can invest into this, and it allows you the freedom to leave your 9 to 5 and
mm.
have control over your schedule,
And that's what I was
basically.
going to ask you next. But before, shout out to Before the Billion. I think he's actually in Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken, or Georgia, or somewhere around there. Shout out to also a Major Change Group. These are actually to me, it's a big YouTuber right here, because over than 5,000 subscribers, checking in, making sure that they can learn some games as well. Shout out to you, Major Change Group. We did a collab together about credits. All right, guys. All right, that's some great knowledge right here. Now that's probably because me. I think most people are going through the same thing. Most people, when they think about franchise business, the first thing that comes to their mind, even if they don't say it, is okay, the barrier of entry, $1 million,
Yeah,
$100,000, right? So I want
yeah,
to
yeah.
give you, I want maybe if you want to share it, what numbers you're thinking for your own franchise, or maybe your current one that you're working on now, or give us number in general, like an average. What should we expect? Should we like, at what point should I start selling my cryptos and invest in a franchise business? Like, is it a million
You know,
dollars? Is it five hundred
no, no, no. To
thousand?
be very,
Can I start a franchise with
no, no.
$10,000?
Honest, no. Yeah, you could. Honestly, the franchise concept, when you pay to acquire for a name, most of that money is not profit. You'd be surprised. It goes to training that franchisee. It goes to paying for the support of the employees to that franchisee. It goes
Really?
to the marketing for that. So the profit comes from the royalties. That's where the profit comes. The profit comes from the ongoing royalties.
Wait, what? That's news to
Yeah,
me, and I
it's
don't
it
know.
because
Did
it
any
costs
of
a
you
lot.
guys know this in the chat? Let us know in the chat. But so sorry, what?
Costs a lot of
So
money.
you're saying basically it's kind of like a tough father who's trying to like make sure you save to buy your own car, and then whenever you want to buy your own car, he puts you half of the money in or something. Yeah, it's kind of is it like that? Is it like, okay, you have the money, you need $10,000 to start. They make you believe that you need to pay that just to acquire the name, but that money is actually used to train you, to set up your business, your logos and all that, your marketing. Is that how it works?
Yes and no. So
Okay.
all of that is as well in your contract, in your franchisor contract.
Hmm.
So in your contract, it breaks down the what amount, what percentage of each amount is allocated to what as well. To give you an example, we're thinking of selling, we're thinking of selling our franchises between 10 and 25,000. So we're thinking that that price is very reasonable. It's going to vary depending on the population of the area. So the more people in the area, the more expensive you sell your franchise because the more revenue they can generate, right?
Hmm.
Um, my franchise, for example, was a lot more than that because it came with a business that was already 40 years old with a
Hmm.
big reputation in Quebec. Um,
Talking about
so
the
that's why
education franchise, right?
yeah, exactly. So that's why.
Okay.
But our concept is very new. So, it would be arrogant for us to ask for that much money. Our and
Sorry to
okay,
interrupt you right there. I just want to make sure
go for it.
I get this, because
Hmm.
to me
Yeah,
this is
yes.
mind blowing. I'm learning here, and I hope you guys are learning too. Make sure you hit the like button. Shout out to you, J Bones, for keeping them honest, and then we'll go from there. Shout out to you, Sophia Sharif. I see a couple comments here, but I just want to make sure we get this knowledge clean. I don't want to interrupt the flow, but all right. So looking back at your education franchise, as you said, it's like it's a proven system. It's a well-known brand in Montreal or in Quebec. So does that mean you would need more money to acquire the brand, right? Like, are we talking about like six figures here, or like, oh, what are we talking about here? We don't have to get you
Yeah,
tell me exactly.
it could be close to 100,000. Yeah,
Woo,
it will be close to
sheesh.
100,000 because you have to keep in mind it's not just about the name. You need to have money to live for 6 months,
Yeah,
right? So you have to keep that in mind. So that figure I'm giving you includes your lifestyle, includes you, because you're gonna go from employee to self-employed, but you still got to pay yourself,
yeah, but
right?
in a
So that
situation like that, is part of that money being also used to set up your franchise, like the location, the
yeah,
logo,
yeah.
training, and all that.
Everything, everything.
Okay, okay,
Everything. The
good.
training
Good.
usually doesn't come from you because a lot
You
of
don't
it
know
again it
anything.
depends on the structure, right? It depends
Yeah,
on the structure what you negotiated. If you negotiated training part of your agreement, you're gonna get training for you and your employees paid for free. So
yeah.
everything depends on how what you negotiate from the start.
So you wouldn't recommend that for first person to start with? Like, that's kind of tough. 100K. Not many people have that in savings,
No,
unless you're
it's
good
it,
at borrowing money and then you can prove the system, which could be a good idea, because if you can use the research, the market research you've done, you can use the research from the other franchisee. You can probably use that as leverage to also go to the bank and ask them
yeah.
for to help you
Uh,
finish your savings and start a franchise.
Definitely, there are so many entrepreneur banks in the world, so many development banks. If you Google the development bank within your city, a lot of them have rates just for entrepreneurs. They have grace periods where you don't give any money back for a year, sometimes 2 years.
Mm.
You only pay very small interest, especially in a province like Quebec, where 80% of the economy is boosted by entrepreneurs.
Mm.
So they give a lot of tools, financial tools for you to grow as a business as well. So you don't have to use 100% of your own money. Of course, you're going to have to show some capital, put some
Of
skin in the
course.
game, but
Yeah.
you can always leverage a loan, go to the bank, not a regular bank. You don't call a regular bank, you call a development bank,
Mm.
like a BDC, Banque de Développement du Canada, the BDC, those type of banks
Mm.
that invest in entrepreneurs. And though if you need the liquidity and you have a good business plan, 100% they won't loan you money at very favorable rates for you to grow.
Yeah, but man, $100,000, man, I might consider my cryptos, man. I don't want to sell them too. Shout out to you, Nicola Xavier Gabriel. Man, right now, man, I'm willing to even. I'm looking at my body parts right now, and I'm trying to decide which part to
But think
sell
about it.
for
But
more
think about
money,
it. Think
because I
about it.
need to invest back in crypto. But man, that seems a lot. But anything you want to add
You
about
can
like
make it
maybe
back though.
photography or anything new or anything smaller on the smaller range side?
No, it depends. If you that if 100 may seem like a lot of money, but let's say only 50 of that is to buy the name. I guarantee you, if you buy a smart business, a good business that is successful, you're gonna make that money back so fast, and it's
Mm,
gonna take way less than a year, way less than a year to make it back. So it
okay.
depends really. It also depends, like I said, your research, how much research that you do, and how aggressive you are going to market. Solography, if you want to go to solography, like I said,
Yeah,
we're
that's what I was
between
going to ask
10,000
you.
and yeah, between 10 and 25,000. That's what my sister and I are thinking of selling the franchise. To start that, like I said, we don't feel like it's a big amount for the key in hand system that comes with it.
Key
If you go on the
enhance.
website franchise direct, you're gonna find franchise for $5,000. Literally, for $5,000, you're gonna find
Well,
franchises.
let me ask you
Again,
this. Let me ask you
they,
this. Let me ask you this. Let's be
uh-huh.
honest here. Is there a correlation between the price you pay for franchise versus the whether the income or the level of success that it could get? Like, for example, if I get a cheap, that's the website you were talking about, right? Franchise Direct.
Yeah, yes, correct. So that's really for people on the states. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fine. So, hey, all my American friends down there, you can check this website. You can and possibly find a franchise for $5,000. Oh, now that's in my ballpark right there, man. I would love starting a business for $5,000. But man, does that mean also that I have less chance of success if it's cheap?
No, it just means either the brand is less reputable, the company is
Mm-hmm.
younger, That means you have to make more effort and brand recognition. That's
Mm,
just what it means. That's why solography is not that expensive because it's too young
mm.
to ask for too much. And that's why the franchise that you're gonna see at 5,000, they may be for, I don't know, pet grooming services. It can be for a mobile nail salon.
You know what?
So you're
You know,
really gonna find anything and everything.
oh man, that gives me so much ideas. Because if you have a good business structure, like good sense of business, you can actually try to buy a franchise for like let's say $5,000 and improve it in so many ways that it's worth $30,000 for the franchise. And now you acquire low
Definitely.
assets and create that value on it, as opposed to buying it already fully built and go from there.
Exactly.
So, hmm,
And it's like a house, right? So the same way you have real estate brokers, you have business brokers. Because
really?
your business has a value, and the easiest way to calculate the value of your business, you take your profit and then you multiply it by three, five, six, or eight, depending on your industry, and that's the value of your business. So the
You
value of
got
your
a
business
business
increases.
broker? So
Yeah,
that
there
means
are
that you got
business
a guy
brokers in
out
this
there
world.
who's looking for ways to help you find a franchise, basically, or any other business, right?
Well, not personally, but it is a booming industry. It is
Hmm.
something that exists. Business brokers.
Oh
So they
man,
have a list of businesses.
I'm learning games today. Sheesh. But that's an interesting. I'm definitely going to play with that website. I see minimum cash required 20,000. I would say 10, 20,000 could be a good first step for me. So I like your idea also for solography because I am interested in picture photography. Like I am interested in all that, and I like the fact that it's self like everyone do it themselves, which means it's going to be low end expenses for me, right? I don't have to pay as
Yep.
many people as possible. Sometimes in this
One.
type of business, you have to pay high expenses when it comes to editing the picture. Doing that's most of the where the money comes in. But if I don't have to do any of that, that reduce my expenses and marketing can increase my revenue. So
Definitely.
I know what, man, you got me thinking, man. You got me thinking because I'm going to be needing to do something with the crypto money, man. So the bear market is
Well,
coming at some
we're
point.
thinking about that's something we definitely think we can talk about that definitely because franchise is something that easy, very easy to do. You have 20% chance of failing, literally.
Yeah, man, I think you brought some good arguments there to make me consider this. But hey, I hope you guys are getting games too on the chat, man. I did not know you could find because me, whenever I think about franchise, I honestly think about like McDonald's, KFC.
Yeah.
I never thought they could even look into a franchise for less than like
When I
100,000,
when I
six
st- when I
figures.
acquired this franchise, my family members thought, "Hey, oh, you bought a franchise? Where are you gonna put the McDonald's?" I'm like, "No, this is not food." So it is a very common reflex to people to think
Yeah.
that you're in the food industry when you say you have a franchise, but
Yo, look
no.
at this one. Site Swan website builder, 149 minimum cash required. That's crazy, man. Like
Yep, yep,
social owl, I don't know what this one I think I know what it does, but social owl like 149 a month. So, yo, that's manageable, man. That's you can get going and you can sound like a business. And I right there, right from the
exactly.
beginning, it will be a corporation, right? It's because it's not
Yeah, you have to incorporate. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So that right there can already give you some tax benefits that you can use to your advantage. I'm going to play around with this website, my friend. This is
enjoy it.
interesting. But it's in the States, but still, man, still. Um,
I'm pretty sure if you go Montreal franchise, there's a very popular expo. So people who are interested in franchises, I think they should follow the expo. There's an expo that goes into every city. So there's a stop, and it's like a cycle, and it goes to every city in the states. So for everyone in the states, you should definitely Google expo,
Expo
expo
what?
franchise
Like a
expo, franchise
franchise
expo.
expo?
Yeah, and then you're gonna see it. It moves around. There's one in Montreal. I think it happens every November, and then it goes to February or
Oh,
January
I
in
see.
Toronto.
Like a show, like a
Yeah,
trading show.
exactly. And then you have booths, but for every franchise that has a booth. And then you take a pamphlet. They can give you some numbers, cost of acquisition, potential revenue, and so on.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Okay, no
that's a
worries.
good place to go.
Yeah, I think I live close to the Palais des Congrès, which probably that's where it would be in
Yeah,
Montreal.
it happened. I think it was the 22nd of November, or 23rd of November.
Oh, yo, look, that's a
Just
walking
passed.
distance from me, man. I'm definitely going to hit it.
That's another one, Franchise Expo. Yes, also they have another one next year. There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
in March.
I'll put that on my calendar because I could do that one.
You should go.
Yeah, yeah, I'll check it out just for information. But I did not know. I think that's definitely the thing that you said that really going to get me to consider franchises, man. I did not know the rate of success was that high.
It is
Nine.
because you're buying a proven formula. You're buying something that works already. You're not reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Just give me a second. All right, all right. So, let me see. Now, here's a question for you, and this is an honest question. All right, we hear all this advantage. It almost sounds like a perfect. It almost sounds perfect. Well, you got to put the work. You got to put the work. Yeah, I think you made that pretty clear, and you're very comfortable with risk. Well, let me ask you this last question. And how we doing on time? Is it good? We're not too
Yeah,
busy.
I'm good. I'm good. Go for it.
No worries, no worries. All right. So, what would you say? You already mentioned a lot of advantage, but maybe you have more. But what would you say are the advantage and inconveniences of having owning a franchise model?
I'm very honest. Cutting that check every 3 months. Sometimes you just want to. You don't want to give that money away. I think that that's what's the most boring about is giving that percentage of your
Mm.
sale, knowing that you generated 100% of it. That's the only
Yeesh.
part that sometimes it kind of bothers you. But then when you look at the system and the support and the brand that comes behind it, you have to pay sometime. You can't be too greedy as well.
Mm.
So I think for me, that's the only downside because I don't want to move the formula. I don't want to innovate within a franchise. If I'm going to innovate, I'll start something else, like I did photography. But what's the main inconvenience? What bothers you the most is those franchise fees.
Mhm. Yeah, you did mention a lot of advantage as well. Now, let me ask you this: are those franchise fees are used in any way to help you? Like, for example, are they used to kind of like to market the brand as a whole, or is it purely profit for the owner? Like, well, you starting your own. Like, how would you use that? Would you use that to
So
start your $1 million portfolio, or would you use
no,
some of
I'm
that
going to be
money
very
to
honest.
increase the brand, like your Instagram ads and all that, to help everyone to grow the brand?
Well, you cut it. Usually you split it in three. So 30% goes to marketing,
Mm-hmm.
30% of, let's say you charge 10% of a franchise fee, right? Let's say the revenue of that potential franchisee is $10,000 a month. So you get 10%. So you get $1,000. So that $1,000, you're gonna take 30% of it, you're gonna put it in local marketing. Right, so local marketing for that specific franchisee. 30% of it is going to go as well to the support, to the employee you're paying to be that contact person for your franchisee that generates the documents, the tools, updates the websites. So that human resource, and then the last 40% is profit.
40%, right?
So more or less, that's how you need to break it down. If not, on the long term, it will crumble. On the
Mm.
long term, you will have unhappy franchisees. And when you have unhappy franchisees, that's where you risk having them partner together and then you destroy your business. So
Oof.
you have to be willing to invest in your franchise system, right? You have to
Absolutely.
be willing to invest in it and nurture it and provide the tools because their success is your success. But you have to invest in a structure for them to be successful.
Now, how
And the
easy it is to contact the owner of the franchise? For example, let's say I would be interested to, because hey, I haven't done any franchise style of business before. I am usually the type of guy who's I think my only proven system was an MLM. So how do I if I let's say I was interested, all right? Let's say, right, I was interested. How easy would it be to be able to reach out to you? kind of like a mentorship to help to guide you along the way. So I know I can contact my other franchisees. Let's say you have some in Haiti or you have some in Europe, right? So, but I can talk to them. But how would I be able to talk to you? Because I know a lot of us are doing that business to be free, right? So if you are having like a residual income coming and you have a system running smoothly, you might want to like make it very hard for you to for people to access your time. But like, what's your what are your thoughts on that? Like, would you make yourself available to some degree to like personally to input your time and help your franchisees out there?
Definitely, because if you don't do it personally, it has to be your partner. So, because personally, we have a work tool together, and if you don't do it yourself, especially at first, you minimize your chance of success, especially because it's not a proven system yet. If it was a proven system, then having a team, a training team dedicated to onboarding new franchisees
Hmm.
would make sense. Especially if you're onboarding franchisees, 2 or 3 franchisees a month. You're one person, so there's a limit to your bandwidth. Um, if I compare to my other franchise that I'm a franchisee in the language school, I have direct access to the owner at all times.
Okay.
That's not an issue. um that's the way it should be, actually. But as well, he has a team, a support team, so I don't always need him. You would go to him for financial issues most of the time. The rest, he has a team for that. When it comes financial, you talk to the owner, the guy that you pay, or the lady that you pay. So definitely, we would be accessible, and we have to be accessible, especially as a young business, for our new franchisees.
Absolutely, man. That's good to know. That's good to know because, yeah, when you have 14 businesses, 13 fails, you kind of like you don't want to. It's kind of like LeBron James, right? LeBron James would rather not make the finals now so that he could add another loss to his resume. Shout out to all my LeBron's fans in the chat. But yeah, man, I see what you're coming from, and I like that idea that as a business franchise owner, you want to be involved, especially in the early stages as you're doing the system to at all times.
Because you're proud as well. It's a sense of pride that you see something from your mind becoming reality. So you want to go visit your different franchise to help improve, support, teach, learn yourself as well. Hey, what could have I given more to this
Mm.
franchisee? What could I given more to this entrepreneur for him to succeed? So it is a big part of creating improvements, is you being present on the field, seeing what works and what doesn't, right?
Let's go. Shout out to Nicolas Xavier Gabriel. Let's go for
That's it.
15 solography globally in 2022. And that opens the door to a great question. Is it complicated to, if you, let's say you start the business in Canada or Montreal, what other legality involves in actually creating franchisee international, like in say, let's say DR, let's say Cuba, or I don't know, maybe not Cuba, but Jamaica, let's say European countries. Like, how do you manage all that? Like, the lawyer fees would probably increase, right? And which probably increase the
Definitely.
franchise fees.
Definitely.
Oh
And no,
man,
you don't have to tie it to the franchise because it's a one-time fee, right? So you have to first of all, you have to register your brand.
the
So
brand, okay.
when you have that little, you trademark it, but you have to trademark it in every single country.
Mm.
So for here, where we trademarked the word solography, so yeah, it's like it's protected. And then you have to set up a legal structure where you have a franchisor with multiple franchisees. If you want to do it internationally, at first, to minimize your franchise fee, what you do, you build partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
So you go down there and it's a partnership. On paper, it's a partnership where your royalty fees are your equity in the business, in quotation, if I can put it that
Okay,
way,
okay.
until you expand legally. So after a while, when it's paying for itself, you give that money to a lawyer, you incorporate a bigger brand that is now a franchisor to the franchisee. In bigger countries like United States,
Mm-hmm.
that's where it becomes more expensive to do it.
Yeah, because you
Very
probably have to do
expensive,
it
actually.
twice. You have to do it federally and then on each state.
Oh my God, yeah, yeah, yeah. We're actually in the process of talking to lawyers and all that. So it is extremely expensive, and it takes a lot of time and patience. So you really have to believe in your product if you're gonna go through with all of this. And the
Now
first
let me
one
ask
we're
you
gonna
this.
do.
Let me ask you
But
this. Would that be forcing you to be strategic about where you place it? Like for example, Florida, for example, might be a great idea to start because there might be
yeah.
tourism. They might want to like this idea and business at the same time versus I don't know some states like Texas, for example.
Listen, it's not impossible. As well, it depends on what your business network is like. If you have contacts in the states, people you know with heavy pockets that are willing to invest in your idea, by all means, go for it. And in our case, where we are, the first one we plan on opening is actually in the Dominican Republic, and it's actually a good friend of mine, Xavier, that we're talking that is chatting right now and with us. He's the first one actually. I'm putting out there for him. He's the first one, and we're very excited to open next year in 2022 as the first international solography franchise. Um, so yeah.
All right, all right. Well, very quickly, I wanted to give I think we're gonna wrap it up. That's pretty much the question I had for you, guy, for you. But give me a second. I wanna tackle this. That's probably the
Tell me,
first time I've seen this. Franchise bots. What? I didn't realize these
franchise
were
bots.
actually bots.
What's
But
that?
man, thank you very much. I just went on YouTube quickly and I saw J Bones was managing that. J Bones, thank you very much, my friend. Thank you very much. Yeah, normally we do our podcast later, but you still found some times to be on the chat and monitoring it. Shout out to you, man. Really, really deep respect for your putting the work out there and keeping people honest, man. Make sure you hit the like button, and I hope you got some great games as well because our guest Mikhail here shared some great knowledge that we don't normally hear every time. I can't really recall a great podcast that I've heard about franchise. Whereas I've been on YouTube streets looking for business contents for years, consuming 40, 50 videos a day sometimes, all business related. And I don't think I've heard anything like that for franchisees. So I'm happy that I was able to make that happen. But I'm also happy that you were able to come on the podcast, Mikhail, and share this insight from the franchisee world, giving us the ins and out, the advantage and inconvenience, the how you see it, how you approach it. So that thank you very much for that.
My pleasure. Thank you for the invite. It's for me, it's my first podcast. I really enjoyed the experience. I like sharing knowledge. If you ask people around me, I love sharing knowledge. I love sharing my experiences and people learning from my mistakes.
Hey man, actually, so just before we go, is there any last words that you have for the audience you wanted to leave the audience with, whether it was your franchisee, whether it was business in general, building wealth, and anything that you have on that perspective as a last word?
Well, I think I said a lot already. I'm just gonna say that if you have an idea that you want to pursue, there's no time like the present. There's not a perfect time for you to be ready. You're never gonna be ready. You have an idea, jump, pursue it, and then you're gonna learn by doing.
Hmm.
Be smart about it too. But I would say that would be my last closing words. If you want to do something, just do it. Life is too short.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that, man. I agree. Do it. And we have a lot in common when it comes to the personality, how we approach it. But you got me thinking, man. You really got me thinking about franchise today. I was already,
Good.
I think the first time I met you quickly, that idea, I started thinking about it. But today, after we really deeply talk about it, man, you got me thinking, man. I'm going to be looking to do some things with that crypto money. So
Good.
why
Good.
not look into something? And that sounds like a clean. I like simple businesses, man. Simple
Yeah.
business with
Come
powerful
visit. Come visit
message.
it. Come visit it. Come for a tryout. Take a few pictures. You're gonna see how easy it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And I like the name too, Solography. So go. Do
Yeah.
you have an Instagram yet set up for this?
Yeah, we do Instagram. So it's so long. If you scroll down at the bottom, completely at the bottom of the page, we have a link to TikTok, and we have a link to our Instagram as well. So we try to stay pretty active on both.
Okay.
To
Okay.
yeah, TikTok and Instagram. So that's
No
where
worries.
we post pictures of our clients. So yeah.
And that
So it's
logo right there,
holography.
that one is
Yeah.
clean, man. I like that one. I like that
Thank
one there.
you.
So I would love having a shirt there with this. I think I prefer that one better than, I mean, my honest. Oh, I guess you're doing that for
uh,
the for the for.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I thought it was the entire. Like, I thought it was always like that. Okay, I get it. It's
No,
just for
probably
the,
gonna be taken down in a couple of weeks. Yeah,
yeah, just for Christmas. But hey, man, that eye there, that lens eyes. But solography
yeah.
just tells it the simple business, simple name, solo yourself, graphy, pictures, and then the whole concept is you take it. Um, but yeah, you're probably
And
going
if you
to
go
one
to
of
the
the
top,
challenge I see. One of the
mm,
challenges I see for that business is basically educating people on the possibility or how it works. People might think
mhm.
it's hard, or you have to break to that mindset. But once it's done, and I think you can do that with very like 15 seconds videos on TikToks, like walk
Oh
in,
yeah.
boom, walk out, 15 seconds,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah. No,
and
if you go through our TikTok, you're gonna see we have several videos that went viral. I'm talking
really,
400,000 views, 30,000
wow,
likes
okay,
videos. Yeah,
that's
so
good
that's
for
a lot of
business.
partnerships. Yeah, so we do partnerships. We invite influencers for free. So all of that is part of the business model that we give to
Yeah.
franchises, how to market it, you know?
Oh yeah,
And that's why if
and that's probably a great idea too to tackle influencers. Man,
yeah.
I want to get the Toronto one, man. I want to.
Eh, click if you click we already have a tab for franchise,
Ah,
so we
man.
already we're generating interest as you speak. So if you go on the franchise tab, you put in your email, your phone number and phone, and then we once we are ready, we send you a pamphlet with more information. And then we set up a Zoom call where we answer any financial questions you may have.
Yeah.
And so that's why we'll start
Does
it soon.
anyone has the Toronto one yet?
There, no, there is a similar concept in Toronto. It's actually, but
Oh,
that's where we
yeah.
got the idea from the one in Toronto.
Yeah,
That's
but
where.
you
So
know
we
what?
started
You
at
know
the
what?
same time.
Let's talk about that one, man. I think I might want to compete there because, man, I know many influencers. I know many influencers in
Ah,
Toronto, and some of them are in the photography niche. All right. I
okay,
even
okay,
have this partner that was on my incubator that started a business, marketing business called Node, right? And the
okay.
idea is basically empower influencers and making it easier for them to monetize their arts, their channels. So, and a lot of them are in the food niche. A lot of them are in the photography. So I think I have a small network of people I can tap already. And man, you get some influencers walking, take a picture for their Instagram, and then they say, "Hey, that picture was taken." Hashtag your business. That right there can
Yep.
be a easier way to leverage. So, man, man, it's you got me thinking, man. You got me thinking once. But hey, man,
No, we
maybe
can.
next year, man, I might do. I want to do something. I have many projects I'm working for next year. That's ridiculous, but I might want to look into that one too. I might want to look into that. I'm not going to lie to you.
Sounds good. Just let me know.
All right, all right, all right. Well, hey,
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
thank
yeah.
you very much for your time. Thank you very much for the knowledge you drop. Hopefully, chat, you took some notes. I think you shared some great knowledge right here. Going back to that website that you shared that you can actually investigate, franchisedirect.com, that you can go ahead and search for franchises depending on your budget. And I actually recommend people doing that. We were talking about why you should have businesses. You can do that as a way to increase your income so that you can put more money into stocks and cryptos, man. And then,
That's it.
yes. But if you have a legit business, then it also helps you improve your tax structure so that you can keep more money in your pocket as opposed to only being an employee. So that right there, it's the game about building wealth. It's not just about making money. You got to be keeping it and multiplying it. And one way you can do that is using a proven system like a franchise that someone else tested it for you. So a lot of the work has done for you. So you can tap into it and then invest in it. I'm happy to hear a lot of that money that you start with actually helps you set up. That to me is very interesting. To be, I think that alone makes me want to be interested because I thought it's really like I'm selling my soul to give that money, and then I disappear
No,
and it's never being used anywhere else. So
because actually we fly to the country or to the city to help you do the
really,
technical setup.
oh
Yeah, so we
man,
do the whole technical setup. You don't have to set up anything.
oh
So we
man,
do everything from head to toe.
that's
Just the
good
building.
news,
We don't
man.
do the building, but we install everything afterwards.
That's good news. That's good news, man. Yeah, so I'm definitely interested to. I think I'm definitely going to try this business model for sure. Because just to give you an idea, one of the big vision I have, and I think I'm going to start it next year, but maybe the year after. But one of the big vision I have is I want to do international real estate. All right, I want to do
Okay.
international real estate, and I want to go in a lot of countries, buy a land, build a commercial building on it, and then every business in that building is something I own. And I have my own ideas of a gym slash barbershop slash jacuzzi massage that I want to do. I don't know. I have to test that one first, but then other businesses as well, like a bar, like maybe a franchise business, like a lot of things. I really like the idea of owning something that I leave my house, I walk to that building, I get everything I need, groceries, and not only that, I own all of it. As soon as I walk in that building, my money is being spent, but it's something that I own also, and it helps the community and that lives around there. So that's something I
It's
want to do.
ambitious.
Oh, bro, I'm
Ambitious. That's good.
you
That's
were
very
talking about you
ambitious.
wanted to be a millionaire. You wanted to be a millionaire since you were a kid. Trust me, man.
Yeah.
I like that. I think the same way. So I want to do that. I want to do that for sure. And with crypto, I'm going to be able to do that. At least in one location. At the very least, one location, buy a land, and then see where I can go. Even if it's just one business I put on that land, and then in real estate, I want to do it. I want to do it. So man, are you interested in crypto yourself?
Yeah, I do have cryptocurrencies. Yeah,
Ah, good man,
I
good,
do
good.
carry crypto. Yeah,
Good.
definitely.
You gotta diversify.
You
You
have
gotta
to.
diversify.
You need crypto. I think you need real estate. I think you need crypto. You need business. You need multiple passive source of income.
Awesome,
Definitely.
man. Man, we have
Yeah,
that's the wealth engineering principle right here, man. Uh,
exactly.
all right, all right. Well, thank you very much. Please stay on the back end before you go. But I'll close the
Sounds
stream.
good.
But thank you for your time. Thank you for your time, Mikhail.
Thank you very much for
All right, guys. All right, guys. This was the stream. I learned a lot of games. Very excited. I think that, man, I keep saying that all the time. This is one of the best streams I've made. Personally, I was very curious of this idea, and I like the knowledge that he shared because now it really makes me thinking of strategies and ways to approach the market. And that business that he shared seems to be a great first step. Great first step, low in expenses because it reduces the amount of people, the employees that you're going to hire, right? With hiring employees, guys, come risk. So if you can reduce that number, it can definitely help, and then also increase being in profit. And that's one of the things he mentioned. He was in profit very early in his business, and that's an idea that he said that started like was it 2 months ago? So I think he's moving pretty fast at a good rate, going viral already. So I might check this out. But if that's something that interests you guys as well, check out the link he shared. So I think solography.ca, and we'll go from there. Or Franchise Direct. Franchise Direct seems to have a lot of franchises, and for any budgets out there. So that could be a nice way to have a side hustle and start using the franchise model, which is a proven system, as opposed to starting your own where 9 out of 10 business fails. So thank you very much for your time. With that said, we'll meet on the next show. I'll still have to schedule the crypto mining show, and I'll let you guys know how that goes. But throughout the week, I'll be dropping some videos, making short videos to make sure that we're focusing on cryptos, on the news, on investing, and all that. So make sure you tune in, drop your like, drop your comment, and with that said, we'll meet on the next one.
Boss, yeah. JC, bring that fire. Mentally taking you higher. Get the cash flow that you desire. Building that wealth, I should call you sire. You about to run it, I know it. We steady growing, this is the moment. You gotta subscribe, cause you don't wanna miss it. Wealth engineering, it's time to get it. Wealth engineering, stacking and stacking it up. It's time to generate wealth, till you living like Scrooge McDuck. Hey, wealth engineering, it's time to show you the game. Till you living like Richie Rich, till you ballin' like Bruce Wayne. Hey.